Good evening. Nice to have y'all here. Glad you joined me, whether it be now at 5 or later on or on YouTube. I'm grateful that you joined me. So, an interesting conversation came up between myself and a young lady the other day. We talked about how difficult it is sometimes to find a therapist because of trust. Isn't that interesting? And I'm not talking about it in the normal way, so listen up. We talked about how difficult it is sometimes to find a therapist because of trust. She talked about how when she was walking in or out of the office, she saw two other people that she knew, and she really didn't want anybody to know what was going on, okay, in her life. I shared how difficult it was for me to find a therapist because I'm known by so many people. And I live in a small community, and you know what small communities do many times? They talk. And so I had to work at finding somebody that would help me work through a heartbreaking situation, too. Sometimes trust, or lack thereof, can be a factor that keeps us going forward in our life. Wouldn't you say that? The lack of trust keeps us from going forward in our life in so many ways. Welcome to Friday's Hope, a place where we can share hope for everyone, everywhere, through every situation. I'm Sue Barnhart, one of the ministers at the Worship Center here in Northern Illinois, and I want to talk about trust today. And this is such a huge subject for everybody, for all of us, because all of us have had our trust violated in one way or the other. And it's hard for us to go forward in life sometimes. I went back on the internet just before I started this to find out the percentage of trust issues that causes mental health issues. Over 1 million searches on trust alone. I thought, okay, I am not going to find anything on it really quickly. So trust is a huge, huge issue, and it has been for me too. I've been through trauma in my life. I've been through abuse. I've been through neglect. I've been through heartbreak. Lots of things happen when you're 70-some years old. So I've had to work my way through that. But there is hope. There is hope. And there's ways to rebuild our trust. There are ways to be healed from having our trust violated. Now, I'm going to tell you, there are like I said, over 1 million pages on it, and there is a ton of things you can look up. I'm just going to share what's worked for me, okay? I'm just going to share some things I've learned along the way. It certainly is not all inclusive. I can guarantee you that. It certainly is not the answer to answers, but it certainly will help. It certainly will help those who have kind of started figuring out what to do with trust in their life, or mistrust, which unfortunately I think is getting a little bit worse because of all the up and downs in our society, all the craziness of different corporations and jobs and prices and government issues and stuff like that. Trust is a big deal. And so we have to kind of work a little extra hard for that, I think. So we're going to talk a little bit about it. And like I said, it's not the last word, but these are things that have helped me. The dictionary defines trust as a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. Hear this, I'm going to read it again. The definition, the dictionary defines trust as a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. Relations have to be built on trust. Don't you think so? The problem with that information is changing. The problem is that information is changing all the time. So we think we've got it figured out how to live life if you're a young person and just getting on your way, and you think you have a way to figure out how to do life, and then all of a sudden something happens and boom, that way isn't working. or you think you can rely on this person or that agency or this agency. You know, the problem is our government, our medical field, our food, our money, and the people we have around us or have a relationship with us change all the time. Back in the day when I was growing up, which is what my children call the dinosaur age, you could rely on certain things and they were just kind of steady status quo. But boy, the last few years, it is anything but status quo. It's up and down all the time. Everything. Our government changes all the time. Our medical field changes things that are good or not good for us. Our food many times is altered or changed in some way that's to be better for us. Our money is changed because it isn't worth as much as it used to be. And of course, the people around us, they changed and grow too. That's what we're supposed to do. But when we rely on so-and-so to be a certain way every day or every time, and it changes, it can cause our mistrust. And then, of course, there's the abuse and the trauma and all the other things that happen around the world. I get it. Trust has really been broken for almost all of us. I don't think there's one person, at least I haven't run into them, where their trust has not been violated in one way or the other. And sometimes that hurts. Sometimes it lasts and it changes our personality. It changes the way we walk and the way we perceive other people. A lot of people don't trust other people and they look at them like they're already guilty or sneaky or whatever. So it's interesting how deep trust is to our mental health. So if we have a firm belief in some of these things and build our life on some of these things and they change in such a way that changes our life, sometimes not in a good way, our trust is violated. And what are we going to do? What are we going to do? The first step, for me, it's been a step-by-step process. Let me get back to that paragraph at the beginning of it. First, I had to admit I was hurt and then forgive. Yep, you heard me. I had to admit I was hurt and then forgive. Okay, and this is why I said this. Somebody hurts me. You know, when I was growing up, I was pretty much neglected. And my parents were given suggestions on how to help things in the home that they disregarded. So starting from a young age up, and then we ran into some major medical issues, and then for me, and then of course I got married and ended up, my husband had a struggle with anger, so boom, 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 boom. I said, oh, it'll be okay, stuffing it down. Oh, it's all right, it'll be all right. Boom. Never admitted that it hurt me when my parents did what they did or didn't do what they did. Never admitted that it hurt when I was going through all the medical issues and tests and surgeries when I was little. I just stuffed them all down. You have to admit you hurt. You have to. Don't live there. Don't stay there. But admit. You know what? So when that happened, that really hurt me. You know, when they changed my job and I lost my job, that really hurt me. Maybe it made me angry. I don't know. But admit to what you're feeling first and foremost. Don't stuff it down. And certainly don't take it out on anybody else. We're dealing with us. Just us today. Not all that other stuff. Because that hurt, we can build our life on that hurt. And then it manifests into different ways of handling life. And many times it's not healthy ways. So admit that it hurt. When I realized how much my past hurt me, okay? I was in my 30s, for goodness sakes. I'd been stuffing things down for 30 years. And heard a radio program, Christian psychologist Dr. Minirth and Dr. Meyer talked about forgiveness and how unforgiveness can cause about 82% of our mental illness. And I went, oh, I'm really struggling with depression. maybe I should think about that. And so this was years and years ago when I was in my 30s, a few therapy sessions with my pastor back then, etc., etc. And I stood in front of my bay window and I screamed at God, yes, you can do that. I wouldn't suggest it all the time, but at that point I needed to. And some of you have heard this account before, but for those of you who haven't, I heard I needed to forgive. And I told God, that's not fair. I was a child. They were supposed to take care of me. I didn't ask for this illness. Why do I have to forgive anybody? You know? I mean, I had no clue that I needed to forgive, and I couldn't see why I needed to forgive. Nope. Didn't want to. Told God, no, I don't want to forgive anybody. I was a child. They were supposed to take care of me. But, and here's the but, God started knocking me upside the head somehow. And I said, but God, if that's your will. And at that time I was a born again believer. So I walked with what he wanted me to walk with. Not very easily. I was a lot hesitant. Let me put a lot hesitant. I said, but God, if this is something you want me to do, you're going to have to help me because I don't want to. There's no reason I should forgive these people that were supposed to take care of me. But I will. But you're going to have to help me with this. I can't do this on my own. And I was being real honest. I didn't even want to. Look, you can be honest with God. I mean, you can be down in the dirt, throwing a fit, honest with God. He already knows. He knows you're going to do it. But being honest is one of the best things you can possibly do. To be with God. So admit you've been hurt, whether it's in the past, present, admit that to yourself. If you're a stuffer like I am, and boy, it was bad. I was depressed. I was ready to take my own life. I had the whole nine works going on with me because I stuffed things for 30 years and I held that grudge inside of me, that hurt inside of me. It almost took me out. My trust was violated. I was a child. Somebody was supposed to take care of me, and they didn't. I tell this account pretty often. I remember telling my mother, you need to take me to the hospital. I'm sick. It's flaring up again. Now, why didn't my mother realize that rather than me as a child having to tell her I need to go to the hospital? And we lived about 100 miles away, and my doctor was in Chicago. So we had to drive in this car. I'm sick to my stomach in the backseat. Why did I have to tell my mother that? Why didn't she pick up on that? So all sorts of things happened. And then I went on to deal with the unforgiveness in other parts of my life. But let me tell you, after I realized how detrimental it was keeping all that stuff in me, that my trust was violated, and how deep it got me into depression, and how forgiving people with God's help, believe me, I didn't want to do it, really, how deep I got in a pit, I realized I can never do that again. I have a very short list of people. I mean, if you hurt me, I've forgiven you already before you got done, because it relieved me. I want me to be healthy. I want me to be unattached. See, when I haven't forgiven somebody, like one of the people I didn't forgive was my father. He was in the grave by the time I was 17. He was not well. And I went through a counseling session here in Illinois, and they showed this picture, this stick picture, of this guy carrying this bag behind his back, this huge duffel bag. And inside it were all the things that people had done against him. And they said, it doesn't matter if those people are dead. It doesn't matter if those people are gone. You still need to forgive them. So I was dragging around my dead dad in that gunny sack of hurt and pain. What? Isn't going to hurt me anymore? Okay, I knew that. But I needed to let go of that totally and not drag it around with me. When I realized I could do that, my anxiety attacks went away, my panic attacks went away, my depression slowly started going away. And let me tell you about anxiety and panic attacks. I was free mentally, but my body still thought I needed to fight or flight. So I had panic attacks after all this. It took a while for my body to get straightened around. Anyway, I digress. So my trust was violated. I stuffed it down. I had to finally admit that there was a process that I needed to go through, that I was hurt. People were supposed to take care of me as a child. There's no reason people that I was married to were that violent, etc., etc., etc. I had to admit I was hurt, and then I had to forgive. Regardless of whether they asked for forgiveness or not, I want you to hear this. Regardless of whether they asked for forgiveness or not, regardless of what they did or if they changed or not, I still have people in my life. Believe me, life is not easy still. We are still living on earth. This ain't heaven, folks. So I have to, whether they've changed or not, I have to forgive them. And that frees me from them and what they did. Father, you know what? So-and-so was a real jerk to me. I'm just going to say, I forgive him, and I'm going to give him to you, and I ask that you heal me from that. And if there's something I did that caused that reaction, help me say I'm sorry. So again, the forgiveness and the saying that I was hurt, the affirmation, I had to admit I was hurt and then forgive. That's the first step. The second step, learn who people are. Learn their characteristics, their struggles, their personality. I had a wonderful lady in my life for a while, and she was getting ill, and I wanted to help her one time, and a few times I tried to help her carry things and stuff. I said, "Can I help you?" And she goes, "No, I don't want your help. You're visibly struggling, dealing with breathing while you're carrying this stuff up the steps. What is wrong?" And I'd get very angry with me, and I couldn't figure it out. And then I realized she felt like it made her look weak by having somebody help her. So I figured out how to give her help. When I saw her coming, I just grabbed whatever she was carrying and took it, and just went ahead and helped her up. Or if I saw her dealing with something else, I just grabbed it and took it up. That was different for her. I couldn't figure out, hey, look, if somebody asked me if they can help me, absolutely, here, I'll give it to you immediately. But that bothered her, and I couldn't get it. I couldn't figure it out. So learn their characteristics, learn their struggles, their personality. I know sometimes there's caustic people out there, and they may not change, and that has nothing to do with you. I have another person in my life. If we are one-on-one conversation, amazing person. If we're around a bunch of other people, immediately that old person comes out and gets real cranky. Learn your people. Watch their characteristic. Listen. And I'm not saying study everybody, but it really does help when you have relationships to study people and find out what they struggle with, find out the difficulties they have. You know, they may not change. These people, these caustic people may not change. It has nothing to do with you. You do what you need to take care of you. Learn to expect difficult situations. And I don't want you going around going, oh, this is going to be terrible. That's not what I teach. You know that. But I want you to say, okay, so-and-so's around, maybe be a little more cautious. When I was caring for my mother towards the end got real angry, so I actually asked an agency to come in and help her because she was very caustic to me. She always had been, but it got worse as she got older. And so I loved her, but with a long-handled spoon by helping agencies, having agencies come in. Oh, she was upset with me that I did that. Why don't you come over, Susie? Because I have 3 kids and a job and a husband. I don't even know when I could get across town, let alone come see you. But that wasn't in her mindset, or it wasn't going to be in her mindset. And so I did what I could to have a relationship with her and to be able to walk with her as best as I could. I'm the one that had to tell her she had to go to the nursing home. That was probably the worst day in my entire life. But you know what? After she was there for a while, got the help she needed, and I prayed like crazy. She looked at me one day and said, "You know, Susie, it's a good thing I'm here. This is a good thing." Look, y'all, you could blow me over with a feather when she said that. So understand who people are. No, they aren't like you. You know, when I handle things differently than other people, and I'm finding that out even now still. I can see a situation, so, oh, why don't we do this, this, and this? And maybe the person that's dealing with the situation, no, I don't think it'll work that way. Okay, it would have, but, you know, have to find out who you are, and then you have to, have to find out who the other people are. I just maybe drank a lot of Diet Coke, so sorry. If I have the hiccups, I was really thirsty and hungry. Okay. So your situations, your relationships, adjust yourself if you have to in that situation. Like my mother. I love her dearly. I loved her dearly, but I had to hire agencies to help take care of her because I couldn't. I couldn't because of her caustic nature towards me. I couldn't because I had a family and a job, because I was exhausted, so I couldn't. So I'd go over there and see her and sit with her and maybe take her to Dairy Queen or something, or take her to our local park. But I had to adjust me to be able to walk with her the best I could, you know. Realize some situations are difficult. Some people are difficult, and that's okay. Adjust the way that you deal with them so that it doesn't come back on you. And if it does come back on you, you know what, God, that really hurt, but I'm going to give them to you. I just forgive them, and I'm going to give them to you. It doesn't have a reflection on who you are. It just means that who they are or what the situation is difficult. Sometimes distrust, listen to this now, this is something that jumped out at me. Sometimes distrust comes from my own feelings of inadequacy, I can't say that today, in who I am or what I'm doing. So check yourself. Check yourself. I realized that one day. This was so goofy. I've been part of the Worship Center ministry for 25 plus years. Well, 25 years this year. So sometimes I'd go in on a day when I don't have office hours, but I needed to finish up stuff. And and this has been a while ago, I found myself, I had to do the announcements on the overhead. I found myself really being nervous about being there and wondering if anybody was going to come through and be upset with me. You know, that old mistrust stuff, and what was going to happen if they did. Me already thinking that they're going to be upset. Come on. These people have taken care of me and loved me for 25 years. They're going to get upset because I'm doing extra work on Saturday? I don't think so. In fact, they'll probably ask what they can do to help. So check yourself. Find out about you, what your mental state is, you know. Some people walk around, they don't trust anybody. So they immediately control the situation, or they don't go to the situation. Check yourself. See where your trust issues are. I still have them. They show up every once in a while. But they don't have to. There's a lot of things you can do to heal from your trust being violated. I'm a living proof. I can guarantee it. So you know me, I've got to go to the science facts and I got to go to the scriptures. So by the way, did I tell you at the beginning of this that I looked on the percentage of how trust affects mental health, and there were over a million searches? I went, okay, yeah. So trust is a huge issue. So here's what Psychology Today states. I know we're back at Psychology Today, but I love them. Trust, or the belief that someone or something can be relied on to do what they said will, is a key element of social relationships and a foundation of cooperation. Key element. It is critical for relationships, friendships. interaction between strangers and social groups on large scale. And a lack of trust is uh, in such scenarios can come with serious consequences. A lack of trust can come with serious consequences. Society as a whole would likely fail to function in the absence of trust. We'd probably fail if we didn't have trust. What about in God we trust on our dollar bill? We use that. I just use my bank card to get a Big Mac and a Coke, and I know I will probably pay for this later because it's the second time I've been out to eat something like this since my surgery. I have no idea what my insides are going to be, but I wanted a Big Mac and a Diet Coke, and I figured I'd deal with it. You know what? My debit card, I trusted it. I handed it to the lady. I trusted her to give it back to me after she swiped it through the machine, and I trusted them to go to the next window, and that sandwich and that Coke would be ready. Trust. You trust all sorts of things. It's important to see how trust is built throughout our life. I sit down in this chair. I trusted it was going to hold me up and wasn't going to break. And a couple of my chairs might, because they're kind of been through kids, grandkids, great-grandkids. But for others, particularly those who have been victimized or betrayed in the past, building trust can be a slow, laborious process. For some, it may feel downright impossible. Have you ever felt like that? I am never going to trust anybody again. I am not going to do this ever again and be put myself out to be vulnerable. Nope, not doing it. That hurt too much. And I get that. I so get that. Boy, I can build walls faster than a mason can build walls with equipment. Let me tell you. Boom, 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 boom. I'm done. But I've learned I can trust God to move those walls down or get rid of them, and then I can walk with him through that. It's a little bit different. So how to improve or repair trust. And that's what we're at this time. Improve or repair trust. You know, some people think, look, I have been so battered by life, by war, by family, by relationships, by whatever. There's no way that I can build my trust again. Well, it's going to take a while. I get it. It's going to take a while. But you're going to need to build people around you that will help you and walk through this with you. On an interpersonal level, the ability to trust others who have earned it, hear that, people who have earned it, people you know, if you call them up, they're going to listen to you. I have one lady that I called up quite a bit, and I try not to talk. I really do. But for whatever reason, there's something in her spirit or her personality that just lets me talk and talk and talk and talk to her. Then I apologize for talking to her. But she's one of the many people that are close to me. I have prayer groups that have been close to me because I needed prayer during this surgery and recovery process. So others who have earned it, and in certain incidences to repair trust after it's been broken, are essential to emotional well-being and strong, healthy relationships. On a larger scale, improving trust between group members can help in workplaces, organizations, societies to function more smoothly by increasing social harmony and laying the groundwork for heightened productivity. All those fancy words mean is when you have a good trusting relationship in your work, it makes the whole work a lot easier. That's something I've had to work with and deal with in many of my jobs. So-and-so would say, I'll get to it. Or somebody else would say, I'll take care of it. And somebody else would say, yep, I'm right on it. And time goes past and nobody's on it, took care of it or anything. And so now, because it affects you and your work, you got to figure out what to do with it. So those kind of things start to break your trust. Okay, I'm not going to ask so and so anymore. I'm going to find somebody else, or I'm going to do something else to be able to take care of what I need to do on the job. So many times you have to work with the people you work with to try and lay the groundwork for heightened productivity and heightened peace in you and heightened peace in the workforce. And I know there's some places that are inherently not peaceful, but you can have the peace inside and you can build that trust again back by studying characteristics, studying people. I don't mean all day, but I'm just saying, okay, I've asked so and so to take care of several things and it hasn't happened. Now I know I can't ask so and so. I've got to find somebody else. I mean, it's just that easy. Not that you're distancing that yourself from them, but you're finding a better way to take care of the issues. And that's what it comes down to. Relationships are the same thing, as well as your own personal trust that's been violated when you're little. Okay, I know mom and dad couldn't do this, and I don't need them anymore. I need to forgive them and let them off the hook and give them to God. So my parents were not well to be able to care for me, who was sick, which is too bad. Mentally, my father suffered from being in World War II mentally, and he had to have some electrode therapy. My mother suffered because she was a very rich family, and they lost everything during the Depression to where she was eating ketchup and water for tomato soup. So they've had trauma in their life. The only problem is back in that day, people weren't encouraged to get help and therapy. They were encouraged not to air their dirty laundry, just fold it up and put it away. Meanwhile, they're carrying all this stuff around. Now they've got kids. It's got to come out somewhere, you know? So you do what's good for you without hurting anybody else. You do what's good for you. While improving trust isn't always easy, it takes some serious dedication from all parties involved, and sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes if the dedication is only from you, that's okay. It is possible the majority of the time. Moving slowly when necessary, communicating honestly, be careful with that. If you're talking to a toxic person, sometimes when you communicate honestly, they're going to use it on you. So be wise in some of this. Following through on promises are all keys to building trust, whether between individuals, with an organization, or between countries even. Look at what we've got going on with our president and all the other countries. I mean, we don't know who we're allies with and who we're enemies with part of the time anymore. There's been many back and forth. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying it's kind of up and down all the time. When I was growing up, I knew who we were enemies with, and I knew who we were allies with, and that started to crumble. So we've got to understand we have to do the things that are possible to get our peace. Even if everybody else is going around crazy, we can walk in peace. What are ways to build a trust? What are ways to build trust in a relationship? Partners, friends, family members can build trust in their relationships through mutual respect. That goes for us respecting them. Open, honest communication, engaging in an equal amount of give and take, and gradually displaying more vulnerability around each other. That's tough, especially when you've been hurt all your life. And hopefully your partner takes that vulnerability and helps walk through it together with them also walking in vulnerability. Following through on promises consistently also helps to build trust over time. Is it possible to build trust after betrayal? I want to go back to following through on promises consistently. That's a big deal for me. And gratefully, I have some great people around me that pretty much if they say they're going to do something, told you I was going to get the hiccups. If they've told me they're going to do something, I know it's done, and I am so grateful for that. But that hasn't always been. I've just gone, fine, I'll take care of it myself. And I did, but I didn't want the extra work or the extra stress of it. So, you know, following through on promises consistently helps with trust over time. People don't realize that when they say something to somebody else, it's a big deal to them, to that other person. They're looking for us to follow through on what we said. And when we don't, it almost feels like they didn't care much about what they said, or they didn't mean what they said. You know, that starts to wither away on trust. So it's important. Again, is it possible to rebuild trust after betrayal? Yes, but it can be difficult. Betrayed individuals who are struggling to trust may find it helpful to work with the therapist. I say that all the time. Find a therapist. They can also take calculated risks around those they're considering trusting, sharing it just a small bit of information and observing how it's received, how they feel, what they do with it. You know, if you hear Chatty Cathy talking to somebody else about what was revealed and that wasn't who you talked to about, you know that first person can't be trusted. Before gradually increasing sharing a small bit of information and observing how it's received and how they feel before gradually increasing their investment. You know, face it, as a pastor and a minister, we're talked about all the time. We are. It's just that simple, and it doesn't bother me anymore. I know who I am in Christ. They're going to have to flap their jaws. I'm just going to keep living for Jesus and do what he wants me to do. But, you know, people talk about you. And if that struggles, then you need to just share with just a few folk. Just a few folks. Be careful about who you share with. Those looking to trust again, either after significant betrayal or after a lifetime of smaller hurts, are advised to cultivate open, honest communication while gradually increasing the level of vulnerability they display with others, which is what I just said. Watch who you're sharing with and watch what happens with what you share. Gradually. Don't go up to so-and-so, oh, hi, my name is Sue. When I was 10, I got sick, and when I was 12, I had to have surgery, and my parents neglected me. You can't do that. Not with people. Everybody, they either aren't going to be able to handle the information. I found that out the other day. I shared with somebody a call that my one daughter went to that's a paramedic, critical care paramedic. And the people I shared it with have been in the medical field, but not that part. Not that part. And it really shocked them what my daughter had to go to. No names, no privacy issues. She just told me what she had to go to. And it really shocked them. Now I'm thinking medical field, across the board, should be able to handle that. Yeah. I forget they never took care of trauma and all that stuff. I got to be better about that. Oops. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so those looking to trust again, either after significant betrayal or after a lifetime of smaller hurts, are advised to cultivate open, honest communication while gradually increasing the level of vulnerability they may display with others. Once someone has demonstrated that they can be trusted with the small intimacies, it'll feel easier to let one's guard down further, which is also one of the issues I had with finding a therapist. I've heard a therapist talking to other therapists or something, and I know they didn't mean to. I don't know how it happened, but that really narrowed my whole world of who I was going to look to share some things, because the things I shared could be hurtful to other people as well. So I had to be very clear on who I was going to share with so that I know the other people wouldn't be hurt as well as myself. So small intimacies, small things about yourself. What does the scripture say about trust? And this part I love. Man, I went to the internet, my Bible app. I got another Bible app instead that showed up, and it was amazing. I just put in the word trust, and boom, this whole page of scriptures came up, and I thought, wow, this is cool. So I'm going to share some of the scriptures with you. I'm almost done. I may take a little longer tonight. I hope that's okay. First one, blessed, hello, blessed is the man or person, obviously. The Bible is written all male dominant terms, so even if you're female, take it to heart. Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord and whose hope is in the Lord, which spreads out roots by the river and will not fear when heat comes, having we stood underneath this heat of mess. But its leaf will be green and will not be anxious in the year of drought, nor cease from yielding fruit. I love this because we're blessed when we trust the Lord, when our hope is in the Lord. We're going to be planted by the waters, and our roots of healing and wholeness are going to spread wide because we have Him to heal us. We have Him to continue to give us the truth. That was Jeremiah 17, 7 through 8. Proverbs 16:3, commit your works to the Lord. Commit what you're doing to the Lord, and your thoughts will be established. Isn't that interesting? Father, I am standing at this desk today. I know what I have to do, but I just simply give it to you today. And then your thoughts don't race as much, and you kind of have this clear goal of what you need to do and what God wants you to do. It's amazing. I've done that every morning now since surgery, especially. God, this is another day. What are we going to do today? What do you want me to do with this day? How is this day going to unfold? And I wake up, and some days I have no thoughts what I'm going to do, especially after the surgery. I didn't have enough strength to barely get me from bed to couch. So I had no idea, yet God filled it with such amazing things the whole time. Now I'm back to the worship center 3 days a week. I'm filming on Tuesday nights for Bible studies. Sunday, of course, I'm there. And yes, I still get tired, but not as tired. I walked around the apartment complex the other day and up to the building next to me and back down. Commit your works to the Lord. Lord, I commit this day to what you want me to do. This is your work, Lord, not mine. And your thoughts will be established. And isn't that what we struggle with the most? Is our thoughts, our thinking. Oh my goodness, anybody up at 3 a.m. with our thoughts racing? Yeah. Commit your day, commit your works. That was Proverbs 16:3. Isaiah 43:2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. Anybody pass through the waters of the rivers? Tough times? And through the rivers, they will not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, nor shall the flame scorch you. Now, this is all metaphoric, but what he's saying is, when you go through those tough times, you feel like you are going to get burned alive, or you feel like you're going to be drowned with everything that's going on, God's got you. God's got you. He's going to take care of you. He's going to help you get through. I promise you that. He has me time and again. I have been following Jesus for over 40 years. Isn't that amazing? I figured that out the other day because my oldest daughter was 2 or 3 when I started walking with Jesus, and she's now 44, almost 45. Time and again, God got me through. Time and again. So when you feel like you're about to drown in mess, when you feel like you're walking through the fire, physical or spiritual or emotional, look at y'all. He's going to be there with you. He's going to help you. Psalm 143:8. Cause me to hear your loving kindness in the morning, for in you do I trust. You know he does this because he loves us, not because we're doing something right, Not because this, that, and the other thing. Just because he loves us. Cause me to know the way in which I should walk, for I lift up my soul to you. Lifting up our insides, lifting up the inside hurts, lifting up the very things that got us in trouble. You know, our soul many times are the things that's gotten us in trouble. Ooh, that looks good. Or, oh, she looks fine. Or, oh, I'd like to be with him. Look, y'all, that stuff gets us in trouble. Cause me to hear your loving kindness in the morning. First thing in the morning. When you open your eyes, and if you put your feet on the floor, don't leave that bed. Don't leave that place you sit and lay and sleeping. For in you do I trust. Our trust can be rebuilt through God, because when he says something, he does it. And sometimes he doesn't, because he has a better plan. Sometimes his answer is no. We have to understand that. But that's only because it's a better plan that he has. Better plan. And I know there's catastrophic disaster throughout the world. I get that. That's not God's fault. It's man's fault for doing some dumb things. Sorry. But you know what? He's going to get all of them through. And he's going to help them through all those things. Psalm 91, 1 through 12. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. This is the part I love. I will say to the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In him I will trust. Feeling hopeless? Go to him. Feeling like you have no place to go? Go to him. Feeling like it's hopeless? Go to him. Go to God and trust him. He's going to help you. He's going to walk through with you. He's going to help you through the situation. He has me in many, many ways. Many ways. Psalm 27:14. Wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. Has your heart been broken? You feel like you're so much in pain you can't move? Wait on the Lord and be of good courage. He's going to give you the courage. And he will strengthen your heart. He has mine. Time and again when I've gone through heartbreak, devastating heartbreak. Wait, I say, on the Lord. He will help. He will answer. Don't try and figure things out in your own head. Let me tell you, this thing's a mess. I know about you all, but mine's a mess. Just totally a mess. The Lord is good. Nahum 1:7. The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knows those who trust him. Check that out. Why do I say scriptures? Why do I share the scriptures about trust? Because Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. You know, Jesus was the same when you were born as he is now. Solid rock all the way through. His promises are yes and amen. He is going to help us through. He's going to guide us. He's going to protect us. He's going to show us what to do. He's going to heal us physically, emotionally, spiritually. Time and again, Jesus is the same. Yesterday, November 15th, 1953, Jesus was just like he is now. And that means he's all-encompassing. He definitely knows everything and how to handle life. I don't care if it was 1953 or 2025. Doesn't matter to him. What matters to him is he knows how to handle it. He always has, and he always will. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. You ever feel like your flesh and your heart is just failing? It just does. It just does. I can't do everything on my own. I can't keep peace on my own, but I can to him. You know, keeping the promise, keeping his promise, not only keeping them for us, but believing in them, considering what he said, believe in what he said. Yes and amen. Yes, everybody, I'm seeing your comments. Thank you, Cameo. Amazing. Hi. And thank you, Pastor Paulette. He doesn't leave anything undone. I'm kind of on my other page that has my notes. So thank you for joining me, though. Absolutely. I agree with everything that everybody's saying. That's awesome. Um, so my heart and my flesh may fail, but but God is the strength of my heart and my portion. He's given me enough of everything to get me through life, to get me through difficult things. Isaiah 40, verse 8, last verse, the grass withers, the flowers fade, but the word of our God stands forever. That word hasn't changed. It was written over 2,000 years ago. It hasn't changed. It's still powerful. It's still living. It's still active. And not only that, it's still true. Every time. Every time. God's word stands forever, and it will stand forever regardless of what you and I go through. We can rely on God and trust God because he hasn't changed. His word hasn't changed. His love for you and me hasn't changed. You can trust God to help you through your healing. He'll guide you in the right direction to get help. Reach out to him. Please, if you're struggling to hurt yourself or others, please reach out and get some help. He's going to show you where to go. He's going to show you where to see the people that can help you the best. I talked about finding somebody in the beginning. Absolutely. God led me to a person that helped me tremendously when I needed it. Time and again. It's not just been one time. I've been through several things. Thank you for your prayers, by the way. There's always been somebody there. It may have taken me a minute to find somebody, but I found somebody that believed in God and helped me walk through things. I had one pastor because my husband really struggled with over-the-top anger. He took my call while he was I called the office. I didn't. This was years ago when we lived in another state. I called the office and I asked for him. They said, oh, he's on vacation. I said, oh, okay. And he calls me from vacation to see what's going on, how I'm doing. From vacation. He didn't have to do that. He and his wife rarely got a vacation, and he did that. I had another pastor who I ended up having to put my husband in jail. Sorry, have to admit that, but I did. And that pastor talked with me, and they were on vacation. I'm telling you, it doesn't always happen when they're on vacation, but those 2 times it did. Another lady I called up and said, I've got some problems and I just need to walk through it with you. And she had some amazing insight. Time and again, God's going to help you. Reach out, get the help. Find the people that are going to help restore your trust, help restore your hurt heart, help restore what God's called you to do, and restore where you're supposed to be in life. Get into a good church, get into a good Bible study, find a good pastor. It's so important to have people at family, church family, to walk with you, born again believers to walk with you through life. It really is. If you're concerned that you're going to want to hurt yourself or others, reach out. Reach out to somebody. There are so many places nowadays that you can reach out. 988 Suicide Hotline, the police, the doctors, the hospital, the pastors. There's so many. The Y has a program. Just reach out and say, I need help. And they will. Don't sit there in that muck and that mire on your own. Just reach out. Just reach out. You'll get the help. And if that doesn't help, find some other place that helps. Keep looking. I have one gal that I was talking to, and she had to go to 2 or 3 because she's also in a very difficult job as well, a very stressful job. And this particular therapist that she found works with people in her job that are in her type of job, so she knows how to handle them. The other people didn't because they didn't know what to do with that. But this one does. So keep reaching out until you get the help that you need. Because you are a valuable person. You are an amazing person. You are a woman or man of God who has a plan for your life. I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you hope and a future. That promise is still good. Just because we're going through hard things doesn't mean that didn't promise. He still says that. And he's going to get us through the hard things. Amen? Amen. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching tonight. You all have a great weekend. Hopefully I'll see some of you at the church. And you all take care of yourself. Praying for you. God bless.